morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Well, basically over for the Saints. They can only muster a field goal with Ian Book at the helm. And we probably should have, I did expect it. Just 3 points. I mean, you're missing 20 players. I mean, you're missing 20 players. It's the NFL. You can't be missing nearly half your roster. Saints were 0 for 12 on third downs. Ian Book was sacked 8 times. I mean, this is what we talked about yesterday was the Dolphins have been in their winning streak the best team in the league at sacking the quarterback. And the Saints, they were saying last night, we're down to their 7th offensive tackle. I mean, come on. What did you expect? So maybe hoped for a miracle, thought the defense played their butts off. How about this stat? We could say everybody deals with injuries, and they do, and everybody's dealt with COVID, etc., and they have. But the Saints have used 57 different starters this year. That's an NFL record. How about that? 57 different starters this year, an NFL record. Unbelievable. ESPN Stats and Info had this one as well. Saints have gone back-to-back games without a TD now for the first time since 1997. Mike Ditka. I mean, you're really embarking on this just shameful territory now. But what it is, I don't know how you undo that at this point. I think right now it's just you play out the string, you decide what you're going to be at quarterback next year, and that's going to take some time. Because you have to wait to see what options are there for, excuse me, in free agency. If Rodgers or Russell Wilson are realistic options. And if not, do you commit to Jameis Winston, or do you go draft? Because it's pretty clear the combination, whatever order, of Hill, Simeon, Book is not it. So there we go. Jason Austin, Daniel Sinets, John Bro. That game was COVID ugly. Michael Kleber. By the way, thanks to everybody who did stop by for, we did a little companion show last night. Terrio dropped in, Coogan dropped in, Josh Innes dropped in. So, fun time. Appreciate it for everybody who came by. Caleb Bernard, disappointing game, didn't expect much. That's kind of, it was disappointing, yes, but it's kind of what we expected. So that's true. Daniel Snets, can't judge Book by last night. I mean, the offensive line was atrocious. I'm not judging him based on that. But did you see anything last night that led you to believe, all right, here we go. There's something there. I mean, 12 of 20, 135 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. The second pick was ugly. You know, not saying you had to expect much, but man, what we saw was not good. Charlie Cavell, what's up? Julie Bass, Megan Hurst, Brian Wynn, Todd Harris. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. See, Daniel, I was really hoping Ian Book would do something special. He had no chance at that offensive line. And it wasn't just the new guys, too. I mean, Cesar Ruiz Olayed a couple of times, and you're like, man, that's your form. Your guy was a first-round pick last year. Matt, I bet you could have played a few positions for the Saints, and the Saints would have done better. What position would you like to play? No. I can't run to the mailbox, bro. I'm playing an NFL game. But the expectation for people who are getting paid to do it to be better than they were last night is a valid one. Ryan Amanda Guidry, good morning. Jason Austin, will you please explain to the couch coaches this loss wasn't all Ian Book's fault? Jason, I'm not saying the loss was Ian Book's fault. I agree with you. When you're sacked 8 times, there was no real opportunity to sustain drives or anything like that. But I guess I wanted to see something. I wanted to see the ability to put drives together, to convert some third downs, maybe make some plays with his feet, some nice throws. We just didn't. So, I don't know. I can't remember. I can't really remember one time thinking, there it is. Okay, I can work with that. I guess that's the point. John Ellis, good morning. Gary Petrie, good morning. Rap in batches, what's up? Pat Houston, Joey Vincent, PTG Toasty, Jesse Brown, Matt, hard to watch last night. Hard to evaluate Book. Yeah. Thought his future is bright. I don't know how you could think his future is bright after last night. I don't know how you can on one hand say it's hard to evaluate him and then say his future is bright based on last night. Because I didn't see anything last night where I thought, okay, there's the glimpse. That's the spark. That's the thing that's special. I didn't see any of it last night. Jeb Whitley, Matt, don't mean to be hyperbolic, but was it safe for them to play the game given gigantic roster issues? I don't think that's hyperbole, Jed. It's a fair question, but yeah, it's the NFL, and the NFL is not going to cancel games, especially a primetime game. So that's why, look, the Saints yesterday had to go sign players to fill out their roster. Safe, yeah, they had enough players. They just weren't very good players, most of them. Hey, Drew. Connor, I get everything wasn't on Book. Remember when people were clamoring for Jameis to be benched? I don't know that people were clamoring for Jameis to be benched. I think there were people that were not convinced Jameis would ever be the guy. And maybe there were. Maybe there were people that wanted him. I'm sure there were. I don't remember that being like this really sincere movement or anything. But yes, but listen, to be clear, I don't even know that Jameis would have mattered last night behind that line. Who dat talking? How about this, Matt? The last 2 weeks, Brett Maher scored all of our points. Yeah, there's a positive. They have figured out the kicking woes. Alex Day, good morning. Let's see. Drew definitely spoiled us. He did. Brady Smith, morning, Matt. Last night was a joke. I stopped watching midway through the third quarter. It's very unlike me. Well, it was very obvious at that point how it was going to go. No Saint, and yet we're likely to drop to 17 or 18 by season's end. Oh, you're talking about draft pick. See how the next 2 weeks go. If we look at if the Saints are out of the playoffs, the worst they would draft. Sorry. Would be 17, obviously, because you have 7 in each conference that make the playoffs. So you're right there in this clump with Minnesota, Atlanta, and the Saints are all at 7 and 8. Washington's 6 and 9. And then in the AFC, Baltimore's 8 and 7. The Chargers are 8 and 7. Raiders are 8 and 7. Steelers are 7 and 7. Sorry, they're 7, 7 and 1. That's right. Anyway, so you got to show. I mean, depending on how this all plays out, I mean, you could end up drafting somewhere in the low teens, in that sort of 13, 14 range. I mean, you could be just on the outskirts of the top 10. Andrew Repass. Unless you should have hired Napier. JJ, good morning. Kyle Brisker, morning, Matt. One thing I learned last night is if Vegas wants to pay your house or your car off, then let them. You made a little cash last night. Good. Morning, Matt. Did you catch triplet stat? Former ND quarterbacks have lost 23 straight starts. I think it's 24 after last night. I think it was 23, and then Book made 24. Notre Dame quarterbacks have lost 24 straight starts. It's crazy. A lot of that was Brady Quinn on some bad teams. Yeah, that's crazy. Jesse Brown, Matt, should the Saints go out in free agency, get another tight end for next year? Troutman's not working out, in my opinion. Yeah, he's been a big disappointment this year, there's no doubt. There was a lot of expectation there when they let go of Jared Cook, that Troutman was ready to take that step, and it just hasn't worked. So, look, he was a third-round draft pick, so I don't think you're punting there. You put a lot of resources into him. You're gonna see him through in this contract, but that's a good question for the offseason. I don't think that there's really an option to go spend there, though. You have to hope that someone like Nick Van Nett improves. Lucy B, good morning, Matt. Thank you for morning Scone. Look forward to it every day. Well, thank you, Lucy B. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here every day. Alex Day, Sean Payton said after the game he can't properly evaluate Book's performance based on what he had to work with. That's fair. I would expect Sean Payton to say that. Did you see anything last night that would lead you to believe that you saw something there? I didn't. Kyle Brister, Matt, I learned as long as Sean Payton is the coach of the Saints, they will not draft a quarterback in the first round. He doesn't have the patience for a rookie anymore. I don't know about that, Kyle. I mean, let's not forget that they were prepared to take Patrick Mahomes 11th overall back in 2017. If the right guy is there, I believe he'll take him. I just don't know if the right guy is going to be there. I mean, the Saints have to be, because you have to have this, you have to have the right circumstance where the player that they evaluated, that they deem worthy, is there and available, and they're picking high enough to take him. And we know the Saints will move up in the draft. So if the right player is there and they can move up to get him, they will. But who's that right player? You know what I mean? I don't know that guy is there right now. Joseph Armato, good morning. Glenn Garner, good morning. Bailey C. Never seen a Saints quarterback under siege all game like that since Brooks against Miami in 2005. Shoot, that game was in Tiger Stadium. Bailey C. C.R. Evans, good morning, Matt. I think we have a better shot at Rodgers, Wilson, or Watson. Of those three, Russell Wilson, I think, is the best chance. I think Deshaun Watson's going to cost too much, and Rodgers, I think, will end up in a different situation. I don't know if the Saints have like everyone would want Aaron Rodgers. I don't think the Saints have the assets, the draft assets. I mean, Eric Wilder re-signing Davenport is going to be tricky. Elite talent, elite ability to get hurt. Eric, you have to retain him. You just give him a deal that's worthy of his production, and you have to retain him because you let Trey Hendrickson walk, and so Cam Jordan, long in the tooth. You drafted Peyton Turner, who we haven't seen at all this year. Carl Granderson is improving, but you've got to re-sign Marcus Davenport. You have to. Dylan Wilsey, Matt, should we let Ian Book play out the remainder of the season? I don't think so, Dylan. That if Taysom Hill is healthy, he's your guy. I can't judge a book by its cover. Get it? I do get it, Huey. I love a pun. I do love a good pun. Always shout out to Brock, y'all. Brock is hiring. If you work in the medical field, you want a new job, or if you want a new career, check out brortho.com, brortho.com. They do have locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area, brortho.com. And of course, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. We are thrilled to be able to work with you. Had a bunch of inquiries yesterday. It kind of feels like now that we're past Christmas, people are like, okay, let's get cranking. Yesterday certainly felt like that. So you can give us a shout. HUDCOroofing.com, HUDCOroofing.com. Or as those that were on the companion show last night learned, you can call 364-1007, and you might just get Ryan Terrio, because our phone does forward to Terrio and to Richard Tilley. So, yeah, when you call that number, you may just get Terrio. Bobby Honeycutt, we should find out how good this LSU basketball team is with the first 7 SEC games. Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about that for several weeks here, Bobby. I think if they can make it through that string 5-2, that would be incredible. I think 4-3 is more realistic. I don't think they beat Auburn tomorrow. Not being negative, I just don't think that they're going to beat Auburn. And I don't think they're going to win at Alabama. I think it's what this early college basketball season has showed us is what, excuse me, we know in part it's very, very hard. It's very hard to win on the road in the SEC. It's very hard to win on the road right now in college basketball. Road teams are having a really tough time, in part because if you're a first or second year player, you have not played in a true road environment in your career. Because last year there were no fans or limited fans, so no one has gone on the road in front of 10,000 people going bonkers or more, unless you're a third year player or higher. But how many of those guys actually stick around college basketball that long? So, when you look at this roster with Tari Eason, Brandon Murray, Efton Reed, you go down the list, none of these guys have played in front of a true road environment. So playing at Auburn is going to be tough. I think LSU will win at home against Kentucky and Tennessee. Playing at Florida is going to be tough, but I think they can win that game. You're home against Arkansas, which I think they'll win that game. You're at Bama, at Tennessee. I hope you split those two. And then you're home against A&M, which you should win. So if you look at that Tennessee game, at Tennessee, that's the last of that real tough stretch to start. So, if you could manage to go 1-2 in the road games, or I'm sorry, 2-2 in the road games, Auburn, Florida, Bama, Tennessee, split those 4 and win your home games, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, I think you can start 5-2 in the league, and that's going to set you up in a great spot to win the SEC, because the way the schedule lightens up after that is very beneficial. Let's see, Law V, what's up? Eric Wilderrider, no Saint. Matt, in less than 2 years, you've become by far my favorite sports guy. I love balance and honesty. Thank you, man. Appreciate that very much. Very kind of you to say. Thanks for watching. And just a heads up, y'all, I have a Zoom call I have to be on at 9 o'clock, so I have like 10 more minutes and then I got to bounce. So do me a favor, if you're on YouTube there, please smash that like button. We appreciate that greatly. And YouTube, like the page, share, or Facebook, like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. Eric, curious if you consume sports different this week since you don't have to give takes on anything. Not really. No. I think I'm conditioned now to be what I am. Good question, though. JJ, can Hudco help out in Homa? Absolutely. JJ, we did Mike Detillier's roof down in Raceland. We've done a ton in the Bayou area. So please give us a call. Yes, absolutely. You, friends, neighbors, relatives. Yes. And I'll tell you, if we can cluster service, we get to even quicker. Like if we could do every house on a street, 4 houses on a street or something like that, yes, even better. But yes, yeah, absolutely. Julia Kaulelopono, did I nail it? Best sports personality on YouTube. Thank you, Julia. That's very kind. Look at all these people being complimentary this morning. Making me feel all warm and fuzzy this morning. Joseph Armato, Apollo Balboa, when will the LSU Bowl game be canceled? Hopefully it won't be, man. I have given y'all that heads up for a while now that they were going to be short on numbers. I think we all see that. So and we talked about it last week as well, the real concern is everyone goes home for Christmas. You're with family and friends and going out, when you're not in maybe strict protocols around campus, you go home, you get exposed, you bring it back, you have it run rampant through the program. That's the problem. That's the fear anyway. But I'd love to see him play it. I would love to see him play the game. I'd love to go see John Kirkland run around and make plays. Should the Saints go quarterback in this draft? If the right player is there. The one player I would tell you in the first round that I would take is Matt Corral. That's the one guy I look at and I go, I don't believe Kenny Pickett is a superstar in the NFL. I don't think I've seen enough from Malik Willis to say, yep. Desmond Ridder maybe just a product of who he's played against there at Cincinnati. It's not to say smaller school guys haven't been successful. They have. But I think Corral's the one guy that I would say, yep, I could invest a first-round pick in that guy. And I'm not saying he's a no-doubter, but I'm saying he's the one I would. Glenn, not big on basketball. Tigers are interesting to watch. This team is very interesting to watch. Bill just got here. What does your shirt say? Oh, I will wait for you. It's like that Mumford & songs. I will wait for you. Anyway, they did these a few years ago. They gave these away at a basketball game a few years ago. I forget when, but that was like a giveaway when people walked in a few years ago. Vanette and Trautman might be the 2 worst tight ends in Saints history. I don't know that I could go that far. Bailey C. Let's not forget that the Saints dumped hey Lenny, the Saints dumped a ton of money into Kobe Fleener, and maybe that's just a comparison of how much money you invested in Kobe Fleener then, which does matter, right? But yeah, but it's not been good. Jeremy Wiley, highest of highs last week, lowest of lows this week. Yeah. Corey Rodrigue, what's good? Trade up and draft Matt Corral. Matt Corral may be there, when they pick, depending on where they pick. Daniel Lawrence, Matt, if Watson's available to pick up in the offseason, is Watson available? He said he's not playing for the Texans anymore. The Texans aren't playing him. So I think the one big concern is, does he face suspension from the league, which we don't know yet. Joe and Brian Hanno, any recommendations on a car rental service? Yes, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. For those that missed that, I had an ordeal yesterday. And suffice to say that I will never, ever contact Budget Rent-A-Car ever again, and neither should you. Never in my life have I had a situation where the company was at fault and the clerk at the counter literally walked away and just would not help me. Just left. Just literally left. I was dumbfounded. I walked down, I left Budget and walked down Segan Lane because Erica had dropped me off and then taken Drew. I walked down Segan Lane to Enterprise Rent-A-Car, walked right in. The guy said, welcome to Enterprise. How may I help you? I said, well, you're talking to me, so you're already got a leg up over budget. Unbelievable. And they got me in the car in like 10 minutes. So go to Enterprise. Craig Duga told by Sauces last night the Saints didn't open the playbook to ensure, as insurance, to not show anything to future teams they play. Very nice. I hope you open a can of whip ass in the car rental place. The crazy thing is, like, and I gotta go, but so I called, reserved the car. Y'all know I got hit. Okay, so I was hit, was in an accident, I was hit. Geico, the guy who hit me, his insurance is Geico. I was hit on Tuesday. The Geico adjuster was supposed to contact me within 24 to 48 hours. It's been 7 days, I've still not heard from them. South Point was very kind and just gave me a car to drive until I could get the rental thing situated. Well, we all know what inventory is like right now in the car industry. So like me having a car for 5 days or 6 days is not ideal. And I was very sensitive to that. So finally I said, screw it. I'll just call the car rental place and rent a car and then get reimbursed by the insurance company. So I was calling around. Budget actually answered the phone, like their 800 number, answered the phone. And I was like, I explained what happened. They're like, oh, no problem. We can, like, you just pay your, the deposit, which was $300, which will be reimbursed when you bring the car back. And then your insurance will pick up, the payment. Perfect. No problem at all. They had the car ready. They drop me. Erica brings me over there, drops me off. I walk in. They don't have the car. So I'm like, okay, just put me in anything. They put the car that they were going to put me in, because it was a different car, they were going to require my payment in full for a month in advance, which was like over $2,000. And I'm like, I told the lady at the counter, I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I made a call, I reserved this, like, this is what we did, and you all agreed to this, and now you're backing out. She's like, well, I can't change the reservation, this or that here. I was like, okay, well, can you call someone and do this for me? And she was like, no. I'm like, so you mean to tell me I could sit right there in this chair, call and cancel the reservation and get a new reservation, but you can't help me do this? She said, no. I was like, that's unbelievable. And she literally walked away. She literally just walked away from the counter into the back somewhere. And I was just in the lobby, literally by myself, dumbfounded. Anyway. Nobody ever called budget. They're awful. Ugh. Anyway. Okay, y'all. I have to go. Do you think Baylor has a shot against Ole Miss? Yeah, I do, Chewy. I'm looking forward to those games on Friday and Saturday. Okay, y'all. I got to go because I have a Zoom in 2 minutes. So thank you so much for watching, as always. Brock, brortho.com. Of course, they are hiring, brortho.com. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. We are working, we are jamming, man. Our phone rang off the hook yesterday. I guess we're past Christmas and people are rolling. So, okay, James. James wants to hear the jingle before we go. All right, last thing before we go.
Hudco Roofing, Hudco Roofing. When you need a roof, call someone you know. Scone and Terrio.
All you need is Hudco.
Hudco Roofing, Hudco Roofing. Call Hudco Roofing.
364-1007.
Okay. I got to go. Y'all have an awesome day. Peace. Smash the like button, please.